In today's video, I asked AI to build me the best team ahead of Game Week 5. We're also going to take a look at how the AI team did in Game Week 4 as well. So let's go and dive into it. Now, before we take a look at the AI team from Game Week 4, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the season, and it is only possible with your guys' help. So, the AI team from Game Week 4, it's fair to say it had an absolute stinker. And it was close to going without Erling Haaland. However, 26 points did sway it in terms of its captain. And that's where a large majority of the points came from. In terms of that, the second highest scoring player was 2. And that was Mohamed Salah and, of course, Morgan Rogers. A real stink fest, to be honest. Obviously, João Pedro not playing definitely impacted that as well. So we did get Bodegaard coming off the bench for that. But as you can see, outside of Haaland, the AI really stank it up this week. However, I feel that was a theme across the board, to be honest. And if you put this team out most weeks with some of the top players that are in it, it could have been a very different story. It seems like it was just one of those rogue weeks. It did have Haaland. However, it did get below the average. So a little bit disappointing from the AI itself as well. But hopefully it can redeem itself. Let's go and take a look at how it's lining up for Game Week 5. So here is the team selection from the AI for Game Week 5. Let's start off first with our 2 goalkeeper picks. It is going to be Ramsdale and it is going to be Verbergen. I think both are very credible shouts this week from the AI. Both Southampton and Brighton with home fixtures. You would imagine as well the clean sheet data for those is going to be pretty spectacular as well. So I think both of these goalkeeper shouts from the AI pretty good. And if I was maybe on a wild card this week, I would be potentially considering either of these goalkeepers. I think they could be very good options, to be honest. Obviously, Verbergen for me probably a better option than going for Ramsdale, just with how leaky Southampton's defence has been. However, if you are looking maybe for a rotating pair of goalkeepers, I don't think these guys could be the worst in the world. So maybe the AI is onto something here. Let's head into the back line. It's banking on a double Liverpool clean sheet here with both Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson. And you would have to argue that especially Trent has been super unfortunate not to have come away with an attacking return so far this season. Maybe with Bournemouth at home, it could be the week that it does redeem itself as well. They've not conceded too much XG conceded. In fact, they are the best team right now in the league for XG conceded are Liverpool. So it does bode well. And you know what? I do back this decision. Every single week, the AI has gone for arguably the team that has had the highest projected clean sheet data for that week. And it just hasn't worked out. Maybe this is the week that the tides do change. Our final starting defender is going to be Romero. Now, I feel for me, the AI probably should have maybe downgraded a few of the midfielders or maybe one of the forwards and tried to get itself Pedro Porro in here. He's currently had the most shots amongst all defenders. Romero's in there. I mean, the clean sheets will be pretty decent in terms of odds for, you know, Spurs at home. However, I feel for that extra 0.5 million, it should have found a way to go and get Pedro Porro in. But it believes Romero is still going to do pretty well this week. But for me, that one does feel like it could be a little bit of an oversight. In terms of the bench defenders, it is 2 4 million defenders. I've never actually heard of Oakley before. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I've never heard of him before, so maybe has found a hidden gem. He's only played 1 game so far this season, so maybe he could be emerging as a new potential 4 million defender. Bednarek has been pretty solid for Southampton, however, with their leaky defence, probably longer term, not a player you would want to be playing every single week. Right, let's head into the midfield. We're going to start off with Son. Obviously, he had an amazing game week 2. Outside of that, hasn't really done anything else. And you would argue that Spurs at the moment are struggling as a side as well. So a little bit frustrating, to be honest. But hopefully, this game against Brentford, it is at home. I think Son could do quite well in that one. However, Brentford are no pushovers and they will play a rigid 5 at the back system when away from home. And it would not surprise me to see Brentford actually go and win that game. But just looking from kind of, you know, a fixture perspective in terms of longer term fixtures as well, Son and the Spurs boys definitely could be worth some considerations. There's a set of nice fixtures coming up for them. So maybe if they do perform in this game and get back onto track with winning ways, Solanke, Son and Porro could all be very viable options going forward. Next up is going to be Cole Palmer. Now, he had a really disappointing game against Bournemouth. However, West Ham away, it is a bit of a redemption. Maybe, you know, he can perform to the levels we saw from him last season. He hasn't really hit the heights so far this season. Now, he hasn't had a penalty, so that's obviously going to impact it. And he's also playing in this new role that does see him stick further out wide, and that is what Maresca wants from his wingers, to stick out wide and not really drift in. And I feel we are losing some of the best Palmer moments when he's not allowed that free capability at times, when he is stuck out on that right-hand side. I feel when he's playing in the 10, drifting around is much more suited to his play style. So if that does continue, I do think that makes him one of the worst premium options in the game, because he's out of position, not really got the freedom and the creativity to do what he is very much capable of. We saw that last season. So a little bit of a hampering, and I think the fixtures are definitely there, but if he is playing this new role, I would be concerned about paying that more premium price for him. Next up is going to be Rodgers, and yeah, I'm really unsure how this guy's not returned. Maybe this week could be the week with Wolves at home. I know a lot of people are obviously on content creators' backs for kind of relentlessly suggesting Rodgers. However, at his price point, I don't think there is a better player. Seeing 90 minutes in a good side with good attacking data, good fixtures as well, it all makes sense. It just needs to happen where, you know, an assist or a goal just clicks for Rodgers, and I feel we will potentially get the floodgates opening. But I think if he got 3 returns within the next 6 games, I would be quite happy with that. Remember, he is a 5.1 million midfielder. Next up is going to be the Fantasy Football Hub love child. I say this every week and he still manages to make it in here. It is Eze. They've got United at home. I don't think it's the worst fixture in the world. However, Crystal Palace have started the season absolutely abysmally, and I think this one, I feel Eze's time's run out, to be honest. I feel a lot of people will be looking to kind of sell him off and flog him off. The predicted points are still ridiculously good from the Fantasy Football Hub. I think maybe they do need to tweak their algorithm. I get he's a great player. I know he gets into the right positions. However, with the uncertainty around penalties, with Mateta taking the one at the weekend, I think that does just downgrade him a little bit for me, in my personal opinion, and not a player I would be considering right at this moment. Palace are struggling, and he hasn't, you know, hit the heights that we saw last season. I did say this at the start of the season. I was worried maybe Elise would have, you know, a negative impact leaving this side and leave it to be all kind of left on Eze. It was the same at the start of last season where Elise was out injured, and Eze really did struggle over that period. Our captain for the week and the player with the highest projected points for game week 5 is, of course, Mohamed Salah. I think realistically he is the best captain for this week. So again, really, really good player. I think the next 3 fixtures as well, definitely tempting. Obviously, Wolves away and Palace away, how they've both started the season as well. Could be future big hauls as well coming up for Mohamed Salah. So that one, again, makes complete sense for me. Let's move on to our 3 final forwards. Let's start off first with Ollie Watkins. I feel there's going to be a lot of hype around this man going into game week 5 off the back of an incredible performance against Everton. It probably has been coming. However, there is always that uncertainty with Duran now looming on the bench. UCL football as well resuming this week, so we might see a little bit more rotation or maybe further reduced minutes for Ollie Watkins. However, this week and for the next few weeks as well, there are some absolutely stellar fixtures, and if he does see decent minutes, he could be an absolute gem in my personal opinion. His ownership isn't too high at the moment, around the 22%, so if you want to jump on that train, I think it could be good. I would just be, wary of those minutes though, so I back the AI on that one as well. Finishing up, the final striker is going to be Chris Wood. He started the season pretty well for a 6.1, I believe now, million player. I don't think you can really kind of argue with that one. However, they are facing Brighton away. They have been one of the best defences in the league for XG conceded and in terms of goals conceded as well. So I think Nottingham Forest might potentially struggle. They've also been a team that have not created too many goal scoring opportunities so far this season. I am a little bit shocked that the AI didn't select Dominic Calvert-Lewin, obviously away at Leicester, or Jamie Vardy as well, facing Everton at home. Both of those could be also great picks for this game week as well. Both defences have been very, very leaky at the start of this season, so I'm a little bit shocked that it did pick Chris Wood. Longer term though, I think if you've got Chris Wood, he could be a great hold, or if you're looking for a wild card and you're looking for a cheap forward, again, the fixtures are there. It doesn't seem like Awoniyi is kind of ready to start yet either, so Chris Wood should be still playing games for a good couple more game weeks. And then the final forward is going to be a 5.5 million. Again, I'm not sure why it's not selected Vardy in this position. It has gone for Strand Larsen away at Villa. Wolves have been very, very pitiful. I think he's an okay option, but the fixtures definitely aren't there longer term or this week for me. So again, I am questioning the AI's decision here. However, we could be sat here next week with egg on our face when we go to review this team and we see that it's obviously picked up a mega score. Let me know in the comment section, how many points do you believe this AI team can pick up? If you did enjoy today's video, make sure you are hitting that like button, subscribing, and of course getting your comments in as well. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 5.